Maverick 100.9, Aggie Lands Country Alternative. It's Corliss, and I get to be joined by the legendary and extraordinary Mike McClure is here from the Great Divide. Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
It is wonderful. You do not understand how I literally skyrocketed out of my seat when I got an email that said, new single from the Great Divide. I was like, no, this is a mistake.
Yeah, those guys are too old to be putting out music.
No, those guys have just been dearly, dearly missed. So, how you been for 20 years?
I've been okay, ups and downs. Yeah, it's super cool to be back playing with Great Divide guys. We rather unceremoniously split up back in 2000 or 2002. I can't really remember the date, but then we took about 10 years off, and before we even talked to each other, and then somebody hit me up in 2012, said, "Hey, would you come and play with the Great Divide out at Tumbleweeds for College Days," which was our old festival. And I was like, that would be weird and wild. So I said yes, and everybody said yes. And we played a few years here and there, a few shows, but never made any new music. And it was okay, and it was its own kind of nostalgia. But this last last couple of years, we added a keyboard player, a guy named Bryce Conway, and he said, "We have got to make a record." And he just stayed after us, and we went to a studio in Denton, a place called Real Time Audio, and I worked there. I did Cross Canadian Ragweed's 377 album there. That was the first album I produced, so that was kind of a coming home there. And then, making that record really brought us all together. And everybody's grown so much. I've been sober for 3.5 years, and that was a big part of some of my problem was sliding a little sideways on alcohol and what have you. And so to be able to be present and
I said a tale as old as time. We have unfortunately lost a lot of our favorite musicians that way.
Yeah, and I lost a lot of my dear friends. At least they clocked out about 10 years early because of it. It just sucks, but but so I'm a different person, or I'm more myself, honestly, when you get down to it, and I can be present, when we come together, and we've really healed a bunch of the old wounds, and we love each other. We always have. There was just a period of time that we just wanted to throttle each other. It's like a band of brothers, and there's actually two brothers in the band, so it's even worse. We got Cain and Abel, and then two other guys. But going in, and this gave me an opportunity to sit down and write some songs from that perspective of being in the Great Divide. And I wrote one called "Being Wrong is Overrated." That's kind of fessing up to my own responsibility of the band's demise. Everybody played their part, and that song was trying to own up to mine. And then also there's other songs that are just kind of looking at the world in the state it's in now after going through 2020 and all that BS, and just trying to find some peace. And the very first single is called "The Good Side," and it's about getting back to the good side. And I claim my responsibility for, however my behavior, made things worse, as far as not coming from a place of love, just coming from a place of argument and bitterness. And just, I'm just tired of all that. And this song, I think it gets down to the crux of that.
That's a very honest thing for you to do. I'm assuming that was probably healing for you to do. But we do, when we listen to music and we love artists, we often tend to weave them into our everyday lives, and we become attached to them like they're someone that we really love. And then when they go away, sometimes it hurts. It's like you've broken up with them as well. And I feel like you haven't just mended that relationship with the Great Divide. You're mending it with us as well.
Well, that's a good
we
way to
get you
put it.
back. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't really thought of it in that way. I'm so selfish.
No, we need to be. There's no way to get sober without being selfish.
Yeah.
Especially as entertainers, I will be the first one to tell you I will give every little ounce of me away to everyone, especially young artists, because the love I feel for them and the way I believe in them just overpowers me. And
Hmm.
I don't feel worth it to even be in their presence, let alone being the one that gets to help them. And so I give a lot of myself away. And I actually got mostly sober um
Hmm.
a year and a half ago.
Yeah. Well,
And
congrats.
thank you. And
Yeah.
it was but it had to be selfish. It had to
Yeah.
be. I had to take care of myself, which is something that in 32 years I'd never done. Never.
Yeah. Yeah. I hadn't done it in 51, so
Right.
kudos for starting earlier. I wish I would have, because, I lost a lot of time and just kind of squandered. And now, I don't hang around kind of low energy situations, which, booze can get real low energy. And
Yes.
I just, and it's not, I'm not rude about it. I'm not drawn to it
Yeah.
energy wise. And so I wind up having really deep, cool conversations with people. And, I talk a lot with people out on the road about sobriety. It was important to me, as far as I wouldn't be here, maybe
Yeah.
not even alive, but I damn sure wouldn't have mended fences with my past, and that's something I wanted to do. And yeah, so a lot of people at shows, they'll come up and talk to me about it, and I love that. I get like it helps me, and then I've seen friends where I've talked to about it, and they pulled themselves out of a dark place with it, and just the light on their face is amazing, and there's a direct result.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing to somebody come back to life. It
Yeah, yeah,
and
I did
it
it
can be
personally.
yeah, it can be a rare thing.
Hmm.
But if you get to see it, you understand it a whole lot better. And I know that I have a better understanding of it now. And then you come in and here's a whole different perspective, and you even put it into your music, and it's almost like a
Hmm.
gift. You're giving a gift to us of what you've worked so hard for selfishly. And now
Well,
it turns into something selfless.
yeah, I knew it all along. It wasn't selfish. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm super thankful, and now I have the presence to be mindfully thankful of it while I'm in it. Because, used to, when I was younger, I'd go to a gig, and I was there to play the gig, and I'd get a buzz on, and then there'd be a bunch of people talking at you, and it'd be kind of chaotic.
Yes.
To where now it can be as chaotic as anything wants to, but I'm not, and
Yes.
then you can kind of be a calm in the storm, and people feel that, and they can respond to that, and then maybe even ask, like, well, why are you calm? I said, well, I'll tell you, it's because I don't do that.
Yes. Oh man. This is already just I'm enthralled. I'm loving this so much, and we got to give this gift to everyone else. For the first time on Maverick 100.9, we are finally debuting The Great Divide and Good Side. Due to copyright, Brian Broadcasting is not licensed to air this single for you in podcast form, but you can find it anywhere that you stream and download music. And today's interview continues now. Well, you heard it here first. The Good Side on Maverick 100.9. That's The Great Divide. Yes, you heard that correctly. It's The Great Divide. And I've got Mike McClure. And Mike, there's a whole album to come along with this. You guys are not even just dipping your toes back in the waters. You're coming back full force. Tell me about the new record, Providence.
Yeah, it was a full cannonball getting back in. Um, Let me look at the titles. Yeah, like Wrong is Overrated. That's the first one. That was me talking about, my part of it, and, you know, uh, it's kind of self-explanatory.
Mm-hmm.
Good Side was the first song I wrote for the record, and what was cool for me was to have a deadline. Like I've lived in the studio for years, and there's no deadlines. And if I have no deadlines, I tend to kind of procrastinate.
I
Used
do
to,
too. I do know. I totally do.
yeah. I gotta have a deadline. So once I got the deadline, I started putting together 10 songs that I thought would fit the Great Divide that I already had, and then I spent the remainder of that time trying to beat those 10, like knock them all off, with new songs that are better. And so I got some new stuff in there. There's this song called Set It All Down that's talking about what if everybody came together and we all tried to do a little better and we set the blame down. And I've been letting the world get too close to me now. And that's, I had to turn off the news like I just turned it all off. I'm just tired of division and tired of anger and snipping at each other. It's just, I just stepped away with that. And because I got really bogged down in all of that.
Yeah.
And it's nice to set that down. It's like the world goes on without me knowing the ins and outs of what a bunch of crooked people are doing.
Yes.
And, so I'm just trying to invest my energy in more positive ways. And then Set It All Down, that tune was one. We even did a reggae song on this album. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. Get your houseboats ready. But no, I listened to all kinds of music, a lot of instrumental, and I just had this station on that was playing a reggae instrumental, and I just started kind of singing to it, making up my own words. And then I was like, and that's kind of cool. It's about time slipping away. We all know the time goes slipping away. And a lot of this record is dealing with time, and how much time we have left. That's in another song on there as well.
It sounds very honest.
Well, yeah, why
it's
not?
Like you wrote down a whole bunch of truths.
Yeah, I try to with writing. When I was very young, I was 20, 21, and I was writing, and I was just trying to be clever, or I was trying to
be
just
cool,
make up a story that didn't have any real connection with me, and just use the words. And then Great Divide, we wound up at a bar where Guy Clark was, and not Guy Clark Jr., Guy Clark. Those who may not know, he's one of my favorite songwriters. Wrote L.A. Freeway, Jerry Jeff Walker, just so many beautiful, beautiful songs. But anyway, I played a song for him, and he stuck his finger to like he had a gun and up to his head after I played it, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And then I thought, "What in the world?" And then I was leaving. It's like 6 a.m, and he comes and grabs me. It was at the Longhorn in Fort Worth, and gave me a big hug and goes, "You can write, son. You're just not showing your ass." And
wow.
And he goes on to say, you start digging in, talking about yourself, what you're going through, the audience will feel that. And that changed my life. It was devastating for one of your heroes to, feign shooting himself over how bad your song was. But, I got to the other side of that. And, it was get down to the truth, like you said earlier. That's what I'm been trying to do ever since then. And then that took me, that ran the gamut with me from my 20s, through being in college and Great Divide years, college days, never could, all that stuff was just biographical, and it's cool to go out with those guys and play the old stuff and see people light up because it's memories,
Yeah.
And that's a cool part of it.
I think it's all cool. And it's so funny how things work collectively. I've always said the saying, don't meet your heroes. I think that's absolute bull. Either that or I have the best heroes in the world. But even sitting here talking to you, talking about your work with Cross Canadian Ragweed and seeing Cody Canada, hand you your induction to the Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame. anything like that, it is so funny how the world works in these weird little spider webs. And my truth is that I'm in radio because of a meet and greet with Cross Canadian Ragweed when I was 17 years old. I was getting ready to go into my senior year of high school. And then, but all those records that I fell in love with, you worked on. And those guys were together because they looked up to you. And now I'm getting ready to celebrate 15 years in radio. And when you really stem all of that together, so much of it started with you and your honesty and the way that you write and the way that you performed. And whether it was good times or bad times, you've always inspired. And I have to thank you for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you. That makes me feel warm and fuzzy. That's the goal. That's always the goal is, I think if over the years of trying to move myself, it's moved other people.
Yeah.
And, I say meet your heroes. Some of them may not be what you hope they'd be, but some of them are and above and beyond. Like I got to meet Willie Nelson and hang out with him. And it's like just in the middle of a movie, talking with him. And, Eddie Van Halen, I got to meet through some people and hang out with him a little bit. Just sweet guy, just I think sometimes it has to be natural, for
absolutely,
and like my orbit gradually over time came around to theirs. I didn't just go knock on their door and I'm a big fan, but
I think that's great, and another congratulations to that induction into the Hall of Fame. That's really cool. It's really neat to see you be recognized in such a manner. How did that feel for you?
That was one of the, I think everybody has that for me, kind of.
Yeah.
I think everybody has a little bit of imposter syndrome buried way down low. And, working over that and accepting that and being super, super proud. It really, I think it hit home the most when I played a gig afterwards at after the Hall of Fame, at the Hall of Fame, the actual building itself. And there's a picture of Merle Haggard with the same trophy. He was the first inductee, like in 98 or something.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's the same one I got. And I was like, oh my God, like that's Merle Haggard. And then it kind of makes more sense. I don't know. It was an honor. There's great musicians in there, J.J. Cale, to Garth Brooks,
yes.
So many Okies. A lot of us, big mess.
You're having a big year and you're doing so much and that's great. And you bringing back this music to all of us is wonderful. So I got to know, does that also mean a Great Divide tour?
Oh yeah, we're touring pretty hard.
Good.
And if people want to find that, it's tgdmusic.com.
TDG.
And it's got our TGD Music. The Great Divide. Get the in there. tgdmusic.com. It's got all of our tour dates. And we're going a lot of Texas states. And we went out to Colorado and we're playing on the Mile Zero Festival this year. Great Divide down in Key West. And then we're doing Steamboat as well. It's the first year Great Divide's played on the mountain. I've gone solo, but this is our first year. So it's cool, because there's a lot of younger bands that are things like that grew up, with our music. And it's just really, it's sweet. It's really nice.
Well, I know myself, I am definitely going to be checking out those tour dates. I want to see my first Great Divide show for sure.
Oh, you've never seen one?
Never. There's
a lot of people like that. And then I meet a lot of kids, younger kids. One time this kid came up to me and said, hey man, my grandma had your tapes. I was like, wow, say that again.
They don't
So
know
yeah,
that
that's
I've learned from these young ones that I work with. They don't know that they're hurting your feelings when they
yeah.
you
Yeah,
got to
they're
give
not
them
quite old
grace.
enough to get that. But that one cracked me up though. But it's really cool because I'll see like our outdoor shows. There'll be a family that brings some younger kids and they're singing along, and but because they grew up on it, and I say
Yeah.
younger now, they're in their 20s, and even younger kids, and to see the music, go through that many generations. That's really amazing. I'm thankful for that.
Well, we're thankful for you, and I'm very thankful for you coming to Maverick to debut all of this for us and let us know the stories and what you've been up to. It's truly been a joy for anybody who is a music lover at any aspect. Yes.
Well, thank you. Anytime.